Okay, you have the sweet smelling, two-faced, sweet peach palette on this side, and then you've got the stinky Kylie Cosmetics Royal Peach Palette on this side. This video is going to show you how to make the stinky Kylie Cosmetics Royal Peach Palette into a maybe not sweet, but at least not stinky smelling Royal Peach Palette. So this is actually quite an easy fix. Now let me tell you, it is not the palette itself that smells. No, it is not the actual pans that actually smell. No, the actual offender of this palette is the brush. The brush is the stinky paint smelling, what do they call it? What's the spray paint smelling? That's the stink that's causing the whole stink to the palette. And it's actually quite an easy fix. And Kylie's customer service said what to do actually, and basically it is to air out the palette. What they didn't tell you is the detail. First of all, take the offender out of the palette. Okay? That's the first thing you need to do. You can still use the brush, but just take it out of the palette, air it separately. Don't air it side by side, otherwise it will still pass on the flavor into the Royal Peach Palette, and we don't want the Royal to smell that way. So basically, remove the offender, put it in another room, air this out open in one room away from UVA rays, air it for at least 2 days. Give it 2 days, 3 days max. It should be okay. If you want to air it for a week, go ahead, but I don't have that kind of patience. But 1 to 2 days, maximum I say go for 2 days, and air it out open, away from sunlight, and you're going to be a happy camper. No more smell. The brush, on the other hand, is going to take a little longer to air out. In fact, it reminds me of the BH cosmetic brushes that I used to get. If I can remember correctly, I think they had a stinky smell too. Not as offensive as the Royal Peach brush smell, but it wasn't good either. And it took a couple of weeks. It took actually almost a couple of months for it to kind of completely clear, and then it was like there's no smell at all. So this brush is going to take longer than a week for it to clear out the chemical whatever smell. I don't know why Kylie's manufacturing company should allow for that to happen. As far as I'm concerned, makeup products should not smell that way. Not even normal paint brushes that I get from art stores or paint supply stores, for wall paint smell like that. And if they don't have, if they have good quality and control enough to make sure that their products don't smell like that, I think for makeup, it should not smell like that. I'm just saying. So anyway, that is don't use dryer sheets. You're just adding another chemical to the mix that you don't need in your cosmetics. Not a way to go. Air it out the natural way. It will go, but make sure to take the brush out. But I also wanted to do a little mini review because my previous video, we went through it quickly in the sense that I didn't have a chance to really, because it was an unboxing, I didn't have a chance to touch on the nitty gritty of this palette. And also I wanted to do a little mini tutorial how I got this eye look. So before we get to the mini tutorial, we're going to just do a quick mini review. I'm going to touch on the good about this palette. The colorway on this palette is amazing. This is actually my dream peach palette. This is the way I wanted to see the sweet peach palette look when it came out in the spring. I had envisioned it to look like this, so I was a bit disappointed when it didn't look like this. I had this idea in my head it would be young, light, bright, pretty coral, peach, green, even blue. Well, no, I didn't actually think of blue, but I was thinking of even green and lavender in with the peaches, because I think they go together perfectly. And I was thinking that there wouldn't really be any browns in there. It would just basically look like this. And in fact, as I said in my previous video, because I wasn't able to get that palette right away, I thought I would make my own version of the Sweet Peach in commemoration of the Sweet Peach palette, but make it a summer version. I actually did a video on it. And it turned out I had no idea at that time, because this hadn't even come, I mean, that was in the spring of 2016. So, and if you see my version of it, it kind of looks a little bit like this. So I think I was on the right track. So anyway, so this is my dream palette. However, and the mattes, though they are dry and a little bit textured, they have a little bit of a rough texture, they are actually good. They're pigmented enough. Though I have to say they're not as pigmented as Coastal Scents. And Coastal Scents are $2 a hot pot. And they have sales every like twice to 3 times a year where they will sell them for $1, and that's when I purchase them, is when they sell for $1. And then if you get something that, you know, dupes this out, you're only paying what, $12? If you get it on sale. This is $45. Anyway, so Coastal, they're almost as good as Coastal Scents, but Coastal Scents beats it. Sorry, it does. So, but still the mattes are pretty good. Now we're gonna get into the negatives. So we've got the colorway fantastic. The mattes work nicely, though maybe not as good as Coastal Scents. And then the negatives are too many similar tones and colors. So those are, and then also this particular one, Sorbet, is a little bit, I have it on my brow bone, but I find it a little bit too deep for the brow bone, but a little too light for a transition color. You have to be very, very pale to use this as a transition color. So I don't know about this one. It's a little funky one. The others is that there's too many similar colors and tones. So for instance, these colors, this is Peachy and this is Crush. They are practically the same color. Crush is ever so slightly more coral, and just the teeniest weeniest bit deeper, barely anything. I'll show a swatch of it. So that's, to me, way too close in a palette. And on deeper skin tones, you're barely gonna see the difference. Really and truly, you're barely gonna see the difference. Too similar. I'm gonna show you an example of a better way to have created a palette with similar colors like that, but their tones will be different and their hues may be slightly different. Guess what these are? These are ColourPop's new pressed powder eyeshadows. And if you can see here, very similar. In fact, you could almost dupe Kylie's palette with some of these colors. I know they won't be exact dupes, but I mean, you can still dupe them out, like really. So this is Wait For It, and this is Making Moves, Wait For It. And as you can see here, you are getting slightly different colors and slightly different in tones. They are different. They're gonna lay different. You're gonna tell that on the eye. The color tones the tones are completely different. This is a couple of the shades lighter and this, you know, a couple of shades darker, and then you can see that the colors themselves are different. This is peachy and this is more coral. Okay, so you can see that, and it's going to show that up on the eye. So compare it to this, where the colors are pretty much the same. Too much the same. Okay, difference. Then you've got Duke and Duchess. Those two are very similar in tone, except they're different. This is a metallic, and it's actually a very lovely metallic. This is one of the, I think it's one out of 2 metallics, including this one here, which is a seashell, that are pigmented. The rest at the bottom, forget about it. write it off. It barely pigment. I had to struggle to get North Star to get on my lid properly. So this one is almost like Hannah of Anastasia Beverly Hills. It has good pigment, but then you get to Duchess, which is like a sparkle puff. I won't even call it a sparkle bomb because you do not get enough pigmentation for it to be a sparkle bomb. But it's basically a sheer color with lots of sparkles on it, but the sparkles don't hold. So once you apply it, they start to fall off, unlike, say, ColourPop's Sparkle Bomb eyeshadows, especially in the lighter colors. They hold because of the type of spongy type of pigment it is. It sticks on your lid, whereas this does not, and then it will just kind of fluff off, right? So it's like, it's just enough sparkle, but not enough. You have to layer a lot to get Duchess to have pigmentation because it's quite sheer and it's mainly sparkle. It would have been beautiful if it had more pigmentation, wasn't sheer, and that the sparkle could hold. Then it would be perfection. So unfortunately, it's not. Duke and Duchess are very similar in color, except one is a pigmented metallic Duke and the other one is like a sheer sparkle puff that kind of fizzles out. So, and they're very similar in color. So, and then you've got the ones that don't have any impact at all. And metallics are supposed to have pow factor. They're supposed to have impact. And Mojito and North Star, they fizzle out. They barely have any pigmentation whatsoever. You have to fight to build up the pigmentation, and that's pointless. They're hard. You have to dig into it. It almost hard pans it. It's not fun. You shouldn't have to do that. And I do not have that problem with Coast. There's only a couple, a fraction of Coastal Scents metallics that will do that. So this is, yeah. So what else? Is there anything else? This metallic here is nicely pigmented, and this one is very nicely pigmented. So funny enough, the top row does well, the bottom row not so much. So, and again, too many similar colors. Yeah, so, and apparently people have been complaining, I love this, I find it pigmented, but you have to be a little careful when you brush it on your eye, because if you go over to blend it, it can blend out a little bit. So that's that little personality of that eyeshadow there. So, on with my mini tutorial. Here's my palette. There's Urban Decay Eden Primer to cancel out my tinted eyes. Oh, I'm singing. I got One Dance playing in the background. Yes. Gotta have some music in the background. There I go, canceling out my tinted eyelids. Oh, here we go. Peachy coming in. Come through, Peachy. Come through. Yes. Windshield wiper. It's more singing, still One Dance, really good song. Okay, so now what did I put on my brow bone? That was Sorbet. Oh, yes, I'm grooving now. I'm getting down. One's got to have fun when they're putting on makeup. More Peachy in my crease. I think I needed to do a little, oh, here we go. Here's the struggle. Oh, yes. I had to strengthen myself for this one. One should not pull back their lids, but man, I had to get that to come through. Not pleased with that one. Let's see whether we can do some more. I'm using a sponge. Oh, okay, now I gotta use my fingers. Yeah, there we go. Now we got it. Okay, Royal. This is the name of the... That's the name of the palette. Okay, so we got to put Royal in there. Nobody was doing Royal except at the bottom of their lid, and I wanted to do something a little different. So out of corner I went. Out of corner. Here we go. So, oops! What did I... That's what happens when you don't tap off. Oops. Now I gotta make it even on both sides. Can she do it? Can she do it? Okay, we got that side blended. Ooh. Okay, now we gotta make it even on both sides. That is not lit. Here we go. I gotta do some more work there. Let's try this again. We gotta even it out. More pigment on that side. Come through, Royal. Come through. Okay, I'm putting a little bit more North Star on my lid. We've got to get it some pigment. Yes, I'm happy. Okay, let's do this. I believe this is Opal from the Alchemist palette. We're putting it on my cheekbones here. What cheekbones I have. Come through, come through. Okay, peachy. Oh, I'm gonna be using that as a blush. Smart, smart. I like that. Here we go. More. Come on, girl. We gotta get those like peachy keen cheeks going there. Let's not get it into Royal. We don't want blue cheeks. Okay, forehead, chin, nose, yes. Okay, oh, we've got Sweetheart, what is it, Too Faced Sweetheart Perfect Blush in Bellini. We've got to get some more peachy keen going. Okay, Essence, okay, this is one of the best eye mascaras around. But the only problem with this one, it gives you long, thick lashes, but, okay, here we go. But it clumps. Not clumps, but it drops on my eyes and gives me kind of like raccoon eyes. Okay, so that's MAC Mocha. Now we're going to go for NYX Butter Gloss in, I'll put it in the description box below. And then that is another MAC. This is, I love this gloss. But it's discontinued. It's old. It still smells. Okay, okay, now it's time to make love to the camera. Yes, girl, you can do it. You can do it. Yes, sweetie, do it. Yeah, I like that style. Alrighty then. Not bad, not bad. Oh, there we go. Hope you enjoyed the mini tutorial, and overall, personally, I think that the colorway is exceptional. Kylie comes out with great great collections in their her ideas of colors and colorways. I think that's great. The collections are great, but the quality needs a lot more work, because as far as I'm concerned, for $45, this is way too expensive for the quality of the eyeshadows. These eyeshadows are not as good as Coastal Scents. And Coastal Scents you can get for $2. So if you make a Coastal Scents version of it, which I did right here, and if you want me to make a video of duping out the palette, this is my Coastal Scents version of it. As you can see, that would only cost you $24 if you buy them wholesale. If you buy them on sale, which would be $1, it would only cost you $12, okay? Coastal Scents consistently, their mattes are generally are good. They swatch actually better than these. And yes, you will get some duds with Coastal Scents, but it's a fraction. This is like half the palette is duds when it comes to the metallics. Coastal Scents, yes, you will get a dud with the metallic. I'm going to be honest with you, you will, but it's a fraction of the amount that you get with this, okay? And in a palette this size, none should be duds as far as I'm concerned. And in fact, Nikki Tutorials did a tutorial on the amazing, it looks wonderful, I love the colorway of it, the Valentine's Diary palette, and gorgeous. Some of those colors did have some impact, but some did not. Once again, they were like the shimmers metallics, and she actually had to use a mixing medium, which is basically glitter glue, to give that color the impact it needed on her halo eye look. So there's still some work to be done. Kylie needs to kind of, if you're gonna sell palettes with this type of cost and everything and great packaging, I mean, Coastal Scents sells palettes and they're only $9. These are $45, so she needs to step it up when it comes to the quality of the shadow, because really and truly, this is not even Coastal Scents quality. I'm looking forward to seeing her make good quality products. So I'm hoping that she'll step it up with that. She seems to do things, she seems to keep on kind of improving in certain ways. You know, she added the mirror, she added the brush, she made the palettes bigger, she's getting newer ideas, adding blushes into palettes and things like that. Those are wonderful. Just make the actual product inside quality, and you've got perfection. If she did that, holy cow, I'd be right there at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As a tip, she usually sells her products at 3 p.m. PST time. Get on Trend Mood 1 to find out when they come out. Get on board at exactly the 3 p.m. PST time. That is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there right at that minute. Keep on refreshing your screen to purchase. It will probably, even when you do it at exactly that hour, it will flip you into a waiting screen, but you won't wait that long if you're right on time, because believe me, those palettes and her products, as I'm sure some of you know, sell out within 10 minutes, 15 minutes of that hour. So 6:15 or 3:15 later, it's all gone, right? And then you have to wait a week or two before she possibly does a restock. So anyway, those are tips for you. And believe me, I would be on board for that for the next time, because that diary looked really nice. But you know what? I wouldn't buy it because the quality isn't there. So I'd rather dupe the palette instead. If you enjoyed this, how would you call it? How to get the stink, the smell out of the Kylie Cosmetics Royal Peach Palette, and mini tutorial and mini review, critical review, because I was able to now play with the colors more. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought of, what do you think? Do you think the Kylie palette is that the quality is there? Do you have no issues with it? I'm curious to know whether this was helpful for you in getting the stink, the smell out of the Kylie Royal Peach Palette. We at least want it to not smell. I mean, if it's not gonna smell sweet like the sweet peach, but at least let it not smell. You don't want a sweet peach and a stinky peach, do you? So we impeached the brush. Let me know if you'd like me to do the dupe video of duping it out with Coastal Scents eyeshadows, especially if you don't want to purchase and it may not come back. This is a good way to get an approximation of her palette and enjoy that for the spring and summer. Do subscribe to keep up with all my videos coming up, because I love making videos for you. And just remember, rock your own kind of beauty and keep on going and keep on glowing. I will. Over there, you'll see a button with my face in it. just click it and you can subscribe to my channel. And just underneath me over here is previous videos that you can click on and watch and keep on glowing and pixie sparkle.